What's up, all my instrumented peeps? I wanted to go ahead and do this presentation for you. I just did a live stream of this presentation, and it was actually just something we were doing here publicly here in Kansas City. And then we had the idea like maybe we should just go ahead and do this live stream the public presentation for those who might want to see it, and then have such good feedback that I want to go ahead and just put out our presentation. So this is kind of a comprehensive overview of molecular hydrogen therapy and our YouTube channel and what my company's about. So it's somewhat like a little mini seminar. So let's go ahead and do it, and we can dive right into this presentation. And I hope it is as impactful as it is. Has it been for others as it will be for you? I actually got to do this presentation in Las Vegas earlier this year. And so I don't think anyone has actually seen this presentation other than the select individuals that were in Vegas. So I think it should be cool on H2 Minutes. I think you guys will like it, and hopefully it'll be the premiere presentation on molecular hydrogen on YouTube. So let's get started. My presentation is called Why Hydrogen. So first things first, I generally in this presentation have a handout, and in that handout I have people take notes. And on taking notes, not only just taking notes, but we have them make tally marks for every time I mention a disease model or a health issue or disorder that they either have, the person might have, or they know someone that has that type of health issue, such as, parents, kids, brothers, sisters, distant cousins. I mean, anybody. If you have a health issue, make a tally mark. And at the end of the presentation, we add these tally marks up and actually see the impact of what molecular hydrogen can do or as far as its potential for helping people. Maybe that'd be something cool to do in the comments. That after this presentation, you should watch this presentation, and as you're going through the presentation, make these tally marks, thinking about yourself or thinking about others and the health issues that they're dealing with. And then make tally marks, and then put your tally marks in the comments, and we can actually see the impact that molecular hydrogen can have just by the people watching this presentation. And then I'll explain a little bit more about at the end of the video about these tally marks. Okay, so who are we? Well, my name is Taiwan Hubbard, and I'm a man of faith and integrity. That's how I roll. This is what my life is built on. I'm the husband of Kayla Hubbard and the father of 3 boys, Ty, Raiden, and Jalen. I'm the owner and CEO of H2 Hub LLC, and I'm an independent, internationally known educator on molecular hydrogen. So I get to teach people all around the world about H2, and I'm really fortunate and honored to do that. I'm the owner and creator of H2 Minutes, which is my YouTube channel. If you're watching this video, you're at my YouTube channel. So go check out our videos. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell to know when we're putting out new content. And H2 Minutes is the largest, most popular YouTube channel for research-based education on molecular hydrogen. And so when I say that, I want to make sure you understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that there's not some channel out there that can have more subscribers than we are. I'm saying that our YouTube channel is the most popular and largest YouTube channel for research-based education on molecular hydrogen. We're not tied to any particular company or anything like that, and so I'm sure there's probably some hydrogen company out there or channel that's tied to some particular product or whatever that can maybe have more subscribers than we do. But there's nobody who comes close to us when it comes to research-based education on molecular hydrogen therapy. And then my previous career was that of being a professional football player. So here's some of my bling bling, some of my rings. I won back-to-back national championships when I was in college. I also won back-to-back championships when I played professional indoor football, which is like arena football. And I was doing that trying to make it to NFL after college. And I was actually able to be represented by Atlas Sports Agency and be part of a select small group of athletes with that agency that was able to go ahead and try out in front of all the NFL, all 32 NFL teams in attendance at Keenan Allen's Pro Day. Keenan Allen is the wide receiver for the San Diego Chargers. And so I was one of those select athletes. And it was really after that I had the choice between hydrogen or the NFL and that kind of stuff. So the cards went the way they went, and I chose hydrogen. It's probably part of my destiny to be teaching you guys about H2. And I was inducted into the Kansas Pro Indoor Football Hall of Fame in 2016. So here's a video where I talk about my H2 testimonies, basically how I experienced the effects of molecular hydrogen with my training or with injuries or injury recoveries. And I think you should go ahead and check that video out if you're interested in hearing my story with football and H2. All right, so my achievements and backgrounds in the therapeutic hydrogen industry. I've been in this industry for nearly a decade, and I've been mentored by some of the industry's top researchers, educators, and engineers in this field. I was first in the world to receive the Molecular Hydrogen Institute Level 3 professional certification back in 2015, and I also was the first in the world to receive the Molecular Hydrogen Institute Level 1 certification course in 2023. And we might do something in the future. Maybe we might do some educational things with MHI, the founder of Molecular Hydrogen Institute is Tyler LeBaron. Me and him are good friends, and so there might be some kind of collaboration thing we could do in the future, or some educational things, and maybe help you who watch H2 Minute videos go ahead and take his course, because they really are super good. Anyway. Also, me and my wife, we run the most popular and largest YouTube channel for high quality research-based molecular hydrogen education. I already said that one. And we have created the largest, most comprehensive online video series on hydrogen therapy in the world. No one even comes close to us when it comes to this type of information. And then articles I've written on molecular hydrogen medicinal use has been featured on one of the most popular non-profit cancer websites in the world. And I've also been quoted in a successful magazine regarding hydrogen therapy. One of my favorite claims to fame, so to speak, so far is that my publicized calculations for hydrogen water has been featured in scientific literature. And I'll probably do a video or something about that in the future, showing how my company and my calculations are actually featured in scientific literature. And then lastly, I operate and own the only H2 company that is in the industry that teaches on the scientific literature of H2 and offers product recommendation based on third-party testing or third-party evaluations on products. So so that's my achievements when it comes to the hydrogen industry. I've done quite a bit, and I've helped quite a few people with H2 so far. So only more to come. Okay, so when it comes to my company, H2 Hub, I'm the CEO and owner. I handle all the technical aspects of H2 Hub, conducting performance evaluation and testing for all of H2 Hub's recommended products. I address all public inquiries from medical doctors to average consumers, just to the newcomer who basically just doesn't know anything but wants to investigate this hydrogen thing. What's all the buzz about the hydrogen thing? And I'm also the researcher, the public speaker, and the face of H2 Hub and H2 Minutes. So when it comes to producing these videos, I gather all the research data. There's no one here helping us do this besides just me and my wife. And I gather this data, and then we go ahead and repackage it and put in videos for you guys. My wife, as I said already, her name is Kayla Hubbard. She's also a co-owner, and she's the creative director of H2 Hub and H2 Minutes. Her creative ideas are the inspiration behind all of H2 Hub and H2 Minutes. She writes scripts, produces, she edits H2 Hub and H2 Minute videos, and her creative ideas, she creates effective marketing material, and she works closely with me on virtually everything. When it comes to our companies, and she is the behind the scene engine that allows H2 Hub and H2 Minutes to run. And so I get to be the face. You guys get to see me in all these videos, but there would not be a H2 Minutes, or there would not be an H2 Hub without my wife. And so what you actually get to see as a finished product is both of us. So you should give her a clap or a thank you. If you've been watching H2 Minutes, you know what we're about. You should definitely thank my wife for those videos. Okay, so this is our mission statement, vision statement, and core values. And so, point blank period, this is what we're about. H2 Hub's mission is to improve people's health by communicating, educating, and facilitating the use of hydrogen. H2's vision statement is to be the most trusted company to guide people to realize and experience the amazing health benefits of hydrogen gas. And our core values is honesty and integrity, simple but accurate, to help the entire industry. We want to help manufacturers, H2 companies or distributors or resellers, and the consumers. People are trying to buy these products. We want to help everyone. We want to earn and maintain trust. We're going to be loyal to truth. So we're going to try to stick with the facts as much as possible and try to help people through that means of making sure we're being objectively make sure we're being objective and factual. And we want to be the center point of the hydrogen market. So when people consider hydrogen therapy or when people want to look for a hydrogen product, we want to be that company that they say first, like, wait a minute, I need to check with H2 Hub because we're a hub for the industry. Okay, so H2 Hub is primarily a educational and consulting company, and our service consists of education, explanations, consulting, third-party testing, product recommendations, which are third-party product recommendations, and then open communication, which is kind of like the thing that kind of sets us apart amongst these things. But the thing that really sets us apart is that through my company, I try to make myself more accessible. And so there's not every company can call up that company and say, hey, I want to speak to the head guy and the one who knows the most information about the subject, and then have him help me. And so that's what I try to do. I try to make myself more available. And so I'm only one person, but I do try to do that as much as possible. So open communication is a big thing for us. Okay, so H2 Minutes. If you don't know what H2 Minutes is about, this is what we're about. If you have, then this is just going to be repeat information. You already know this. But H2 Minutes is a free educational series on YouTube. The videos cover molecular hydrogen and its related sciences, such as like water or pH or oxidative stress, these type of things. And then we strive to have accurate information and make it simple. And so that's what H2 Minutes is all about. Our videos are evidence-based and neutral. We try to be as neutral as possible. And we'll talk more about H2 Minutes later on in this presentation. So what is hydrogen? Well, hydrogen is amazing, and you don't even know it. But hydrogen is amazing. So let's go ahead and talk about hydrogen. So hydrogen is an element, and it's number 1 on the periodic table, and it's the most abundant element in the universe. It's also the smallest and lightest element in the universe, and it makes up 75% of the universe by mass, 90% of the universe by number of atoms, 10% of the human body by mass or weight, and 62% of the human body by number of atoms, and it exists in 4 forms, and this is not including its isotopes like protium, deuterium, or tritium. So here's the 4 forms of hydrogen. The first form is a hydrogen cation, which is also known as a single proton, like protons, neutrons, and electrons. Well, a hydrogen cation is a proton, and a proton is a hydrogen cation, and it is positively charged. Another name for it is a hydrogen ion. And then there is a hydrogen atom, which is 1 proton and 1 electron, and it's neutral in its charge. It's also referred to as a radical, or it's a free radical. And then we have molecular hydrogen, which is the star of the show. And so molecular hydrogen is 2 protons and 2 electrons that are covalently bonded together, and it's neutral in its charge. And then we have hydrogen anion, which is 1 proton and 2 electrons, and hydrogen anion is typically found in more complex compounds like sodium borohydrides and these type of things. These compounds, it's more of the rare. It's more of a rare form of hydrogen. So why is this all important? Why do you need to know the distinctions or the differences between these different species of hydrogen? Well, it's important because people don't know that there is a difference. And so typically when you're talking to people about hydrogen, they're going to think of the commonplaces that we as a general public are aware hydrogen is. And so typically when we're talking about hydrogen, people's brain goes to water. So they go H2O, or they go to like an alternative fuel. Or something like that, right? And so most times people don't understand that there is different forms of hydrogen, and all these different forms have different properties, and if you understand these different properties or different forms of hydrogen, it'll help you navigate conversation and clear up confusion. And so if you're a rep or a affiliate of a hydrogen company or something like that watching this presentation, it'll be really important for you to understand those forms of hydrogen and their properties and how they where you can find them at. So for example, like a hydrogen ion or hydrogen cation is a single proton, which dictates pH. That's what pH stands for. Potential, basically potential of hydrogen ions, right? And so hydrogen ions or single protons dictate the pH of a solution, whether it's acidic or alkaline. But that is different than the form of molecular hydrogen, which is a gas and can be dissolved into water. So we're going to go ahead and go through a little bit more of this information, but it's important for you to understand the differences. All right, so molecular hydrogen gas, this wonderful, amazing gas. So it has different names. I don't know why scientists name these things so many different things, but or so many different names for the same thing, but it goes by a couple different names. So molecular hydrogen, H2, hydrogen gas, diatomic hydrogen, or the hydrogen molecule. There's also dihydrogen is another name for it. It's neutral in its charge. It's colorless, odorless, tasteless, and non-toxic. And it's flammable between 4 to 75% in the presence of oxygen, except for when it's dissolved into water. It's really important to remember that. And then it is recognized as a novel medical gas. And so people understand, so they don't get freaked out about hydrogen's flammability, is that a way of thinking about it is similar like gunpowder. Gunpowder, when it's in water, is not combustible. Hydrogen, when it's in water, is not combustible. Okay, so what is hydrogen? We actually produced a video on this, and it should be easy to find. If you haven't been to H2 Minutes and you're watching this for the first time, you can go to our YouTube channel, our homepage, click on videos. It's going to be towards the top of the videos. We just put this out. It's a really good video. We go through a lot of this information I just covered, going through the different forms, and we talk about how important molecular hydrogen is for us. And so you can check that video out. It's really good. My wife did a great job editing it. All right, so let's go through this next section. How small is hydrogen? So this is one of my favorite things to talk about, just because it blows my mind every time I talk about it. And so I know it's going to blow your mind, because I've been looking at it for a while, and it's still crazy how small hydrogen is. So let's talk about the smallest thing in the universe. Okay, so as I said, molecular hydrogen is the smallest and lightest gas in the universe. And so the hydrogen molecule is 50 picometers wide, and a picometer is a trillionth of a meter. So it's tiny, tiny, tiny. You might not even ever heard of the term picometer before this presentation, but now you know it's a trillionth of a meter. It's exceptionally small. So I got some audience participation, so we're gonna need a little help to try to wrap our heads around just the size of hydrogen and how small it is. So I need you to find a single strand of hair. So I normally do this in this presentation in public, and it's really cool to watch people's expressions. So I'm gonna give you probably about like 10-15 seconds if you're watching this, and get a strand of hair. You can pluck it off your head, get it from your neighbor, or your wife, or your husband. Maybe not your husband. Your husband might be bald, but get it from somebody. And then I want you to hold that strand of hair on its two opposite ends like this, and then I want you to hold it up to the light. So you're holding it vertical on its two opposite ends, and hold it to the light so that you can see the width of a single strand of hair. All right. So once you got that, I'll give you about another 5 seconds. All right. So once you have that, you can fit approximately 3 million hydrogen molecules across the width of a single strand of hair. That is a lot of molecules across such a tiny, tiny, tiny. I think it's about 150, like micrometers or something like that. Like the width of a single strand of hair, like 100 micrometers or something along those lines. It's such a small area, but you can fit 3 million hydrogen molecules across the width of a single strand of hair. So that kind of gives you an idea just how small hydrogen gas is. It's pretty incredible. Okay, so the next example I want to do to kind of help you comprehend another important topic, or another way of thinking about this, and where hydrogen size comes into play, is with hydrogen-rich water. So here I have a 16-ounce bottle of water, And in this 16-ounce bottle of water, I have 1.5 milligrams per liter or ppm of hydrogen gas dissolved into this water. And so 1.5 milligrams per liter doesn't sound like an awful lot, especially when you're comparing it to something like pop or soda, which can contain 6,000 milligrams per liter or ppm of dissolved carbon dioxide gas. And so in carbonated beverages, you got carbon dioxide gas that gives us its physical characteristics. So 1.5 to 6,000. It doesn't seem like there's an awful lot in here, right? But we have to remember molecular hydrogen is the smallest and lightest gas in the universe. So its molar mass is really light. So with that in mind, there's actually would be approximately 212 quintillion H2 molecules in this bottle. That is a lot. So you understand how big that number is. It's a crazy big number. That's 212 followed by 18 zeros. It's a big number. It's a crazy big number. And so that might be a little hard to wrap our heads around, but that's a lot of hydrogen molecules. So here I have in front of me a teaspoon. A teaspoon's a pretty small volume of water. In fact, it's only 0.0625 ounces or 1/16 of an ounce. So it's pretty small volume size, right? But let's say we took a teaspoon of this 1.5 ppm water of hydrogen gas, 1.5 milligrams per liter ppm of hydrogen gas dissolved into this water. Let's say we put it and poured it into this teaspoon. How many H2 molecules will we actually have that can fit in this teaspoon? Crazy amount. So it would be approximately 2.2 quintillion H2 molecules in this tiny volume of water, or this teaspoon. That's a big number still. It's a crazy big number still. It's 2.2 followed by 17 zeros. So how are we going to wrap our heads around a number like that, right? So let me go ahead and show you how we're going to do that. We're going to do that by turning every H2 molecule from this teaspoon into pennies, right? So penny's pretty small, right? It's a pretty small object. But 2.2 quintillion pennies. We would have enough pennies to fill 82,597 Arrowhead stadiums. I'm going to say that number again. 82,597 Arrowhead stadiums. That's a ton of pennies. It's a crazy amount of pennies. In fact, it's so many pennies that it can cover the entire state of Kansas. This is where I live. I live in Kansas City. It can cover the entire state of Kansas. Every square foot, with each penny touching another penny, forming layers of pennies. 3,076 layers on every square foot of Kansas, up to 15.3 feet tall, basically about 5 meters tall. That's a ton of pennies, right? It's a crazy amount of pennies. In fact, it's enough pennies to cover the entire United States 63 times, or 63 layers, up to about 4 inches tall. And it's enough pennies to cover the entire surface, every square foot of the earth itself. So, although this is only 1.5 ppm, or milligrams per liter, we actually have a lot of H2 molecules in here. In fact, in a 1.6 milligram dose of hydrogen, 1.6 milligram dose of hydrogen that you can get in your body, you actually have more H2 molecules than you would with a 100 milligram dose of vitamin C, right? So you have a lot of H2 molecules in here, even though it's such a small or a low concentration. So why is this all important? Well, you have to keep in mind, like I said, molecular hydrogen is the smallest gas in the universe, so its molar mass is very small compared to other molecules. So it's super light. It's incredibly light, and its size is so small that you can actually have a significant amount of it, but it doesn't have to be represented with a big number. Also, this is equally important to realize because it's so small and it's neutral in its charge that it makes it the most bioavailable molecule in existence. It has the fastest rate of diffusion into cells than any other molecule that actually exists. And it can cross all human barriers. So, before I even go there, bioavail- bio bioavailability is determined by the charge of a molecule and the size of a molecule. Well, molecular hydrogen is neutral, and it's the smallest thing that actually exists, the smallest molecule that actually exists. So there's no other molecule that can penetrate into our bodies as efficient as molecular hydrogen. And in fact, it can cross all human barriers. There's no barriers that molecular hydrogen is off limits to. It can cross the blood-brain barrier, the placenta barrier, the intestinal barrier, the skin barrier, the testes barrier, the air gap barrier. I mean, every barrier you have in your body, hydrogen can easily penetrate it. And this is really important property because it can go where other vitamins and antioxidants cannot go, such as like your brain passing the blood-brain barrier. It can even get into the subcellular compartments, such as the nuclei and mitochondria of our cells. The nuclei is like the brain of our cells. It's what contains DNA. It can actually get into the nuclei and where the DNA is, and it is can diffuse into the mitochondria, which is like the energy powerhouse of our cells. This quote from Molecular Hydrogen, a preventative and therapeutic medical gas for various diseases, states H2 has unique advantages in clinical applications. It effectively penetrates biomembranes to reach cell nuclei and mitochondria and can easily penetrate the blood-brain barrier by gaseous diffusion, while most antioxidant compounds cannot. So H2 is quite special when it comes to its size. We talk about this a little more when in our video, how small is molecular hydrogen. This is our 2.0 version. We had made this video, or this topic of this video. It's one of our first videos we ever made more than 7 years ago now. But this is the updated version. We even have more examples to give you and explain why this is so important. And we have some more scientific data talking about it. But yeah, you should definitely check this video out if what I just went through intrigued you about the size of hydrogen and how it can benefit us because of that property. Okay, so what is hydrogen water? Hydrogen water? I thought hydrogen's already in water. So we're going to talk about this. This is really important because, as I was saying earlier, understanding the differences in the forms of hydrogen will help you understand what hydrogen water is and what hydrogen water is not. And so hydrogen water is just simply water that contains dissolved hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas is dissolved into the water. Most times when people get confused or they hear hydrogen water, is because they directly go right to a scam because they know hydrogen is already in water, or I should say hydrogen actually makes up water. So we all know of H2O, right? Two hydrogens, one oxygen forms the water molecule. They're all covalently bonded together. However, what actually makes up the water molecule is a hydrogen atom. Totally different from molecular hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas is a gas that can be dissolved into the water. This is very similar to carbonated beverages, which has CO2 dissolved into the water. That's what's happening. And what do they call that type of water? Carbonated water, right? So you got carbonated water because it has carbon dioxide gas dissolved into it. Well, you can have hydrogen water because it has hydrogen gas dissolved into it. Or you can have oxygen water because it has oxygen gas dissolved into it. So this is kind of why I really like the term hydrogen rich water better than hydrogen water, because I think it gives some people to say, what do you mean by rich, hydrogen rich water? So they can open up the dialogue a little more. But either way, you should not be confused that hydrogen water just simply means water that contains dissolved hydrogen gas. And the hydrogen molecules are not bonded to the water molecule. So it's not forming some novel water molecule like H4O or something weird. It's just simply H2O and H2 dissolved into that H2O. And hydrogen gas can be dissolved into water up to 1.6 milligrams per liter or ppm under normal atmospheric conditions. So if we had a glass of water that was sitting right here and we took hydrogen gas from a hydrogen gas generator and bubbled it into the water, eventually the concentration will reach 1.6 milligrams per liter or ppm. That is basically the saturation point of hydrogen in water under normal atmospheric conditions at basically sea level. But you can actually dissolve hydrogen gas in water above 1.6 milligrams per liter by increasing the pressure. So if you can increase the partial pressure or PSI by dissolving hydrogen gas under pressure, like 20 PSI or something like that, you can increase the actual H2 concentration to 2 ppm. This would be called supersaturation. You're supersaturating the hydrogen in the water above its normal saturation point, which is 1.6 milligrams per liter or ppm. In fact, there are many, let's say many products, but several products that can dissolve hydrogen gas up to 5 ppm or up to 6 or 8 or 9 or 10 milligrams per liter. And so it just depends on the pressure. All right, so as I was stating, hydrogen water is similar to carbonated beverages that contain dissolved carbon dioxide gas, but the water acts as a vehicle to get hydrogen molecules into your body, and hydrogen gas can be dissolved into any solution or any beverage. That is grape juice, apple juice, cranberry juice, wine. For all of us who like to drink wine, if you like to drink wine, you can dissolve hydrogen gas into your wine, maybe inhibit or prevent hangovers. There's actually some studies on that. We'll probably do a video on it eventually. And then it's also independent of pH. So as I was saying, hydrogen ions or a proton, that form of hydrogen dictates pH, but molecular hydrogen is independent of pH. It's hydrogen gas. It will not affect the solution. It does not react with anything, and so it will not affect the pH of a solution. Okay, so this is what water will look like, let's say, under, if you had an incredible microscope. This is what it would look like. You have all the Mickey Mouse molecules right there. That is water, H2O, 2 hydrogen atoms, 1 oxygen atom, all covalently bonded together. And then we have the green hydrogen molecules, 2 hydrogen atoms covalently bonded together, and they are dissolved into the water. They're not like forming some special water molecule or anything like that. It's simply H2O and hydrogen gas, and you can see hydrogen gas is actually dissolved between the cavities of the water molecules. That's how this would look under a microscopic scale, what hydrogen water would look like. So you can see it's nothing really crazy going on. Okay, so a bunch of research has been done, and the research actually suggests that 0.5 to 1.6 milligrams per liter or ppm or more is a therapeutic concentration of hydrogen gas dissolved into water. And researchers have taken notice that administering at least 1 to 3 milligrams per day of H2 or more is seen throughout the scientific literature to produce therapeutic effects in humans. So how does this work? The concentration and the milligrams dose. So as you see, I've been stating 1.6 milligrams per liter. And then I just said 1 to 3 milligrams per day. So I actually came up with a little simple formula that should help you be able to understand the relationship between the concentration of hydrogen-rich water and the dose you're going to receive by drinking hydrogen-rich water. And so it goes like this: hydrogen concentration times the volume of H2O consumed equals the milligrams ingested. So I'll state it this way: if I had a hydrogen concentration of 1.6 milligrams per liter in my water, and I consumed 1 liter, 33.8 ounces of water, or that water, I would have consumed 1.6 milligrams of hydrogen gas in my body. Another way you could say it is that if I were to consume 1 liter, 33.8 ounces of water containing a hydrogen concentration of 1.6 milligrams per liter of H2, I would have consumed 1.6 milligrams of H2. So this is how this relationship works, and I'll show you a little bit more in the scientific literature. We're gonna have some studies I'm going to reference later, and I'll mention some things about it that maybe help you make sense of this even more so. But we actually have a video called PPMs, or hydrogen. It's talking about hydrogen concentration and milligram dose, and you can watch that video on our channel. But go look it up. It's called. I think it's reference. We titled it something about PPMs, so you can look that up. All right, so this is H2 Hub and H2 Minutes valid ways to verify a hydrogen water product. This is what you should do if you want to ensure the product is actually producing or has therapeutic levels of hydrogen gas. Remember what we said: hydrogen is colorless, odorless, and tasteless, and so it's going to be really important to know that you're actually consuming a therapeutic amount of hydrogen gas within your water. How are you going to know? So this is really important. First thing you want to do is confirm if the hydrogen water product is certified to IHSA standards. IHSA standards, which is the International Hydrogen Standards Association. It is an association with a board of high-level, high-credible, renowned researchers in the hydrogen space that look at the scientific literature and form standards to basically help show which products will provide at least the minimum amount, 0.5 milligrams per liter, at least the minimum amount of hydrogen gas to induce a therapeutic effect in humans. So anyway, if you see a product that has the IHSA seal, then you know that that product at least provides 0.5 milligrams per liter. And so you at least know you're going to get the minimum amount of hydrogen to induce a therapeutic effect. The next thing would be to confirm if the hydrogen water product has been tested by H2 Analytics. H2 Analytics is a US-based laboratory for hydrogen water, and it uses gas chromatography, which is like the gold standard for measuring hydrogen gas within a solution or water. And so if they have, if a company or a product has an H2 Analytics test report, then you can feel very confident that whatever is on that H2 Analytics test report about the hydrogen concentration, you can feel very confident that that product is probably going to provide those type of levels. And the last thing you're gonna do is confirm that the device has been H2 Hub approved. So you're going to confirm with my company. We actually have performance standards as well. We test hydrogen products. You can actually check out our H2 Hub YouTube channel, and you can actually see me doing some testing and doing some things like that. My test videos and stuff like that. But you can look at those videos and see. But we actually do testing and produce test reports as well. And we test these products against our in-house performance standards, which coincides with IHSA standards. And if it's on our approval list, then you can feel confident that the product provides therapeutic levels of hydrogen gas, that it's safe to use, and that it has some level of decent build quality. And so you should definitely check on our approval list on our website. All right, so testing the concentration of hydrogen-rich water, you definitely need to always confirm the concentration of your hydrogen water if possible. As I said earlier, you do not know what these companies, you do not know how much hydrogen gas is in your water unless you test it or unless you use a valid source like us, or like me, or like H2 Analytics or somebody else to verify that. Remember, they can claim whatever they want about their hydrogen water products. If you're not confirming it, then you absolutely don't know if that's the concentration that is getting. Just because they say they're going to provide you with, 2 ppm or 1.6 milligrams per liter of hydrogen gas dissolved into your water doesn't mean that that actually is going to be that. So you need to confirm it. You can do that with this simple product called H2 Blue. H2 Blue is a reagent that allows you to easily measure and confirm the content of hydrogen gas within water at home. And so you can also use it to detect the presence of hydrogen gas within water because, as I said, it's invisible. So you won't be able to see it. But anyway, so this is what I would say for you to do. You definitely need to use H2 Blue if you can. And it's relatively cheap. It's not like it's very expensive. I think it's like 25 or 30 bucks. You can also find it on Amazon. You can go to our website as well. We recommend it. So here's some videos that we've produced for H2 Blue, how to properly use it. H2 Blue does have a little bit of a learning curve. So it's important if you want to get accurate readings to know how to properly use H2 Blue. And you should definitely watch these videos. If you're going to get H2 Blue, I would recommend everybody does and learn how to test the dissolved hydrogen levels within their water, and know how to do accurate reading, get how to get accurate readings, and these videos will definitely help you with that. All right, so alkaline water. Why would I be talking about alkaline water if we're talking about hydrogen water? It's a really good question, right? And so I think in order to answer that question, I need to go ahead and tell you a little bit of a story as to a very big contributing factor to why alkaline water is so prevalent here in the United States. You can go to any of your little Whole Food stores, your Hy-Vees or your Price Choppers or your WalMarts, whatever, and find alkaline water. In fact, so much so that I have Patrick Mahomes, I have my boy Patrick Mahomey, as the face of Essentia. Essentia is an alkaline bottled water company. Um, and Essentia 9.5, right? So it's really popular. So he's the face of that. And so we need to know why alkaline water is such a big deal. And I think you're going to enjoy this story. So, the alkaline water story, the hydrogen water story, or a bit of both. Well, alkaline water began to gain popularity in the USA in the late 90s and early 2000s. This was due to the surge in alkaline water ionizer purchases, and an alkaline water ionizer converts your ordinary tap water into alkaline ionized water. And so these are water ionizers or alkaline water ionizers. These systems basically take your tap water, and filter it, and then run the process of electrolysis on it, converting your ordinary tap water into alkaline water. And alkaline water, if you don't know what that is, if you're one of those people that don't know what it is, it just means water that has a pH above 7. And so you have the pH scale. Anything below 7 is acidic. Anything above 7 is alkaline or base. And these systems take your tap water and convert it into alkaline water. So alkaline water ionizers gave people health effects, but no one knew why. So, like I said, in the late 90s, early 2000s, these systems were booming. They're still really popular in the marketplace. But many people were getting health effects. And, anecdotally speaking, like there was a ton of health effects, whether it was improvements in like lowering blood sugars, or improvements in people's gout, or gastrointestinal stress, or different things like that, like reducing bloating. Like people were noticing these benefits, but no one knew why. And so, in the absence of an explanation, someone will always give an explanation, whether it's true or not. And unfortunately, this resulted in the simplest, most obvious explanation. It has to be the alkaline pH of the water, because that was very easy to verify that the water was alkaline. So it has to be the alkaline pH. And in fact, marketers, doctors, and others argued that these systems enhance health via the alkaline pH, negative ORP, microclustering, ionized minerals, free electrons. I mean, you name it, they came up with it and stated this is why this water was therapeutic. And so, primarily though, it being alkaline was one of like the main reasons of why this was beneficial, because it can benefit our bodies by keeping our bodies more alkaline. But there's a catch. There is a big catch. All these explanations put forth have no valid scientific evidence to support them, including the water being alkaline. This is very easily demonstrated. We actually have videos on this. You can actually look at my demonstration test where I actually take alkaline water and I can show you with a cap full of soda that, with a little bit of acid, that alkaline water is going to be altered or changed or neutralized and become acidic very easily. So it's surviving our stomach or our intestines or our blood is not very likely. So this is what scientists are figuring out. Like, this doesn't make sense. These properties or these things don't make sense as to why this water would be therapeutic. But science has shown that these systems generate dissolved hydrogen gas in the alkaline water that it generates, which is responsible for the health effects. But despite this truth, the alkaline water story still booms due to the bandwagon fallacy, which basically states that many people believe it, therefore it must be true. So, or I should say it this way, many people believe it, therefore I should believe it, therefore it must be true. And unfortunately, that's just not how it works all the time. So, alkaline water story, hydrogen water story, or a bit of both? The answer is that it's always ever been the hydrogen water story. The hydrogen water story is what gave the alkaline water story its legs to run. Unfortunately, those legs, those legs aren't actually something that is substantiated with any evidence, right? Like it gave it its legs. Basically, what I mean by that is that hydrogen was the reason why these people were probably experiencing health effects, and it was associated or stated that it was an alkaline pH, and because of that, it opened the door for alkaline water to blow up, and now many of these bottled alkaline water companies simply just produce alkaline water because they think it's the alkaline pH that made it therapeutic. And so many of these companies will just add some baking soda, or basically baking soda, and sodium bicarbonate. Basically, they add to these waters, which gives it some electrolytes, right? Some things, and so it's alkaline pH. So therefore, it's going to be beneficial for you. But in the scientific literature, these systems produce a form of hydrogen-rich water called electrolyzed reduced water. Or basically what's happening is they're using the process of electricity to reduce acid or hydrogen or protons, right? To reduce acid and convert them into hydrogen. So they're reducing acid and converting it into hydrogen gas. So electrolyzed reduced water. And electrolyzed reduced water is a scientific term for alkaline ionized water. And the scientists have figured out that hydrogen is the sole reason as to why this water has any health effects. And so it's super unfortunate, but as I said, hydrogen water is the only reason why these people were experiencing health effects, and it really gave the alkaline water story its legs to run. However, doesn't mean that that's actually true. It doesn't mean that's actually how it works. So I could have actually had about 10 or more of these type of studies that's going to reference what I'm talking about right here. But here's just one. Systematic review of the association between dietary acid load, alkaline water, and cancer. Despite the promotion of alkaline diet and alkaline water by the media and salespeople, there is almost no actual research to either support or disprove these ideas. This systematic review of the literature revealed a lack of evidence for or against diet acid load and or alkaline water for the initiation or treatment of cancer. Promotion of alkaline diet or alkaline water to the public for cancer prevention or treatment is not justified. Yeah, so that's about the alkaline water, right? So let's go ahead and show you that the hydrogen is the reason why alkaline water ionizers have actually any therapeutic effects is due to the hydrogen. Electrolyzed reduced water review 1. Molecular hydrogen is the exclusive agent responsible for the therapeutic effects. This quote says, numerous benefits have been attributed to alkaline electrolyzed reduced water, ERW. Sometimes these claims are associated with easily debunked concepts. The observed benefits have been conjectured to be due to intrinsic properties of ERW. Examples given: negative ORP or ORP, alkaline pH, hydrogen gas, as well as enigmatic characteristics such as altered water structure, microclusters, free electrons, active hydrogen, mineral hydrides. The associated pseudoscientific marketing has contributed to the reluctance of mainstream science to accept ERW as having biological effects. Finally, through many in vitro and in vivo studies, each one of these propositions were examined and refuted one by one until it was conclusively demonstrated that H2 was the exclusive agent responsible for both the negative ORP and the observed therapeutic effects of ERW, electrolyzed reduced water. So one way to think about this is, like I said, these systems perform water electrolysis on your tap water. And so basically how water electrolysis works, I'll use a really just briefly, like a quick example. So we can do this with our kids. We can actually do this with our kids and see this example. So you can take a 9-volt battery and take 2 paper clips and put 1 paper clip on the negative terminal and 1 paper clip on the positive terminal, and then you take those paper clips and you put them into separate glasses of water. And what you'll see is that on the negative terminal, hydrogen gas is going to be generated, because that's what water electrolysis does. It decomposes water into its natural elements. You're going to see hydrogen gas being generated, and as a byproduct, the water will become alkaline, because you're going to reduce acid to form hydrogen gas, and then the water has no choice but to increase in its pH. And then on the positive terminal, what you're going to end up doing is producing oxygen gas at the positive terminal, and the water is going to have no choice but to go acidic, because you're going to be reducing the alkaline component of water, or base, or hydroxide, to form oxygen. And so the water has no choice but to go acidic in its pH. And so you can actually test this with your kids at home. And so it shouldn't have been that difficult. It's incredible to me that that the byproduct is what you're going to associate all the benefits with, but it's really the process of electrolysis is to generate hydrogen gas. So anyway, you can go ahead and do that with your kids at home. This is what they figured out. Hydrogen is why this water has any therapeutic potential. We actually discussed this in many of our different videos. You can check these videos out. The truth about ionized water, I go over quite a few of this. I even show you some water electrolysis in there. We kind of go through the chemistry and show you how this works, and show you why the water becomes alkaline when you use these types of systems. We talk about the primary water ionizers, even our own ionizer storage. We actually got a water ionizer almost 10 years ago, and it's one of the reasons why we're here today. So you should definitely check this video out if this part of the presentation interests you. We also have misconception videos where we break down concepts that are associated with alkaline water or hydrogen water and that relationship, such as the negative ORP or microclustering, or cancer not being able to survive in an alkaline environment, or all these kind of things. We go ahead and break that down in these misconception videos. So here on the presentation, I actually have 2 really, really famous men. And it's interesting because Patrick Mahomes is the face of Essentia 9.5, but look what Tom Brady is selling on his supplement website. He's selling molecular hydrogen tablets. So maybe Tom Brady's figured out something that Patrick Mahomes hasn't yet. And so, hey, Pat Holmes, man, if you see this video, if someone watches this video and y'all are aware or have connections with Patrick Mahomes, share this video with him, because I'm here in Kansas City, and man, I can help you out and I can get you right. Not only just you, but the Kansas City Chiefs at large. I can get you some water or some gas that can really benefit your body on that field. So let's go ahead and let's do it. Okay, so is there evidence for hydrogen? Yes, and yes. But let's go ahead and talk about it. So molecular hydrogen therapy is heavily supported with the scientific data. There is more than 2,000 scientific studies and publications worldwide with therapeutic potential in more than 170 human disease models. There is over 150 preclinical and clinical studies with hydrogen gas, with many more underway. And there are more than 1,600 researchers worldwide working on molecular hydrogen medicinal effects. And the scientific research has had exponential growth since 2007 with the groundbreaking Nature Medicine article. If you don't know what Nature Medicine is a medical journal. It's the most prestigious medical journal there is in the world. It's very, very, very challenging to get one of your research articles published in Nature Medicine. However, hydrogen has been several times. And so this article is that landmark paper that was published in 2007. It says hydrogen acts as a therapeutic antioxidant by selectively reducing cytotoxic oxygen radicals. And cytotoxic just basically means, if you don't know what that means, it means cell damaging. So here's what the quote says: H2 selectively reduce the hydroxyl radical, the most cytotoxic of reactive oxygen species, ROS, and effectively protected cells. However, H2 did not react with ROS, which possesses physiological roles. So basically, what that's saying is hydrogen reduced the most damaging free radical in our bodies. It reduced the levels of it, and it did not affect the other beneficial free radicals that our bodies need, which is super important. Means hydrogen is selective, or another word for it would be a selective antioxidant, and we're going to go through that. So here's some common administration methods. The article I have here, it says convenient methods for ingestion of molecular hydrogen, drinking, injection, and inhalation. So the most common ways you see hydrogen being used within the scientific literature or being administered is hydrogen-rich water, hydrogen inhalation, hydrogen saline or intravenous drip, and then hydrogen baths, which is dissolving hydrogen gas within a bath and then soaking in it and enjoying all that hydrogen getting in your body. Okay, so hydrogen actually has been really making headway not only in scientific literature, but finding its way to really propel its way into clinical use type stuff. So this says H2 inhalation has been approved by the Japanese Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare, which is equivalent to basically like our FDA if you're here in the United States, as a certified advanced medicine/medical treatment for post-cardiac arrest syndrome, and is being implemented in hospitals to perform a huge human clinical trial involving 15 hospitals. This level of research is also happening here in the United States, and it's growing, which is exciting to see. But there's been different universities and things that have looked at hydrogen gas or is researching hydrogen gas, even NASA, Ohio State, Duke, University of Washington, Loma Linda University, etc. And in fact, a research group from Harvard was funded by the American Heart Foundation to conduct a cardiological study using hydrogen inhalation, and filed hydrogen gas as a new investigative drug with the FDA. This article says molecular hydrogen, a therapeutic antioxidant and beyond. The quote says, overall, the impact of molecular hydrogen in medicine is extraordinary. The non-toxic and rapid intracellular diffusion features of this biological gas ensures the feasibility and readiness for its clinical translation. This is a really awesome quote. And the article is conventional drugs act as a rifle gun while hydrogen as a machine gun. Here's a quote. Most of the drugs used in modern medical treatments or conventional medicine are symptomatic treatments and are far from being a cure for diseases. The adverse effects are unavoidable in the drugs in modern medical treatments. Molecular hydrogen has a remarkable therapeutic effect on various diseases, and many clinical studies have reported that H2 has no adverse effects. Therefore, H2 is a novel medical gas that is outside the concept of modern medical treatments. H2, unlike drugs, works on the root of many diseases by scavenging the two kinds of strong reactive oxygen species, hydroxyl radical and peroxynitrate. Since the H2 alleviates the root of diseases and can treat many diseases at the same time, the medical application of H2 may be called machine gun therapy. Amazing. All right, so what does it do? What does hydrogen do? It does a lot. Thousands of different things. But anyway, and there is more that this says here. There is more that we don't know than what we do know. But what we have learned, we learned a lot. And so let's go over what we've learned so far. So molecular hydrogen is classified as a signaling molecule, or another word for it would be a gaseous signal modulator. That's the type of agent or agent or health agent it is in the body. So you should think of molecular hydrogen as a communicating molecule that transmits signals to cells, which induces specific biological changes or effects in cells, tissues, organs, or organ systems. So organ systems would be like the nervous system, would be like the immune system. Hydrogen can regulate cellular systems in cells, tissues, organs, and whole organ systems, like regulating the immune system or the gastrointestinal system, or our digestive system. This means that H2 can stimulate, activate, or inhibit specific metabolic pathways or cellular processes, altering gene expression, regulating cellular systems toward homeostasis or them running optimally. As a result, H2 can have a multitude of therapeutic effects. All right, so gene expression. I just talked about how hydrogen alters gene expression, regulates gene expression in the cells, and there's no way around it. Gene expression is challenging, it's hard, and so we had to figure out a way to talk about it simply. And so I relied heavily on my wife to come up with an acronym or help me with how to condense this scientific research, and she did so. This is one of our classic videos. It goes way back to one of our first videos, where we call hydrogen the SMART molecule. And SMART stands for Security, Messenger, Analyst, Regulator, and Tutor. So you go check that video out to see how we discuss each one of those points. So hydrogen has antioxidant-like effects. I like to situate on the like. It has antioxidant-like effects. First of all, hydrogen is selective and only reduces levels of harmful free radicals in the cell, such as the hydroxyl radical or peroxynitrate. Also, it's been shown that molecular hydrogen can activate the NRF2 pathway, or the NRF2 ARE, antioxidant response element pathway, which regulates the expression of more than 200 cytoprotective genes in our cells. And so because of this, hydrogen can upregulate our own powerful endogenous antioxidants, or the antioxidants our bodies naturally produce, such as catalase, superoxide dismutase, glutathione as transferase, hemoinoxidase, cytochrome P450. I mean, these are just different cytoprotective antioxidants that are in our bodies that hydrogen can upregulate. But hydrogen is not a conventional antioxidant. It does not neutralize free radicals by donating its electrons. We can actually see this. Some of the scientific literature talks about this. Its reaction rates or its rate constants are too low to actually probably function like a direct free radical scavenger. But that doesn't mean hydrogen's antioxidant abilities or its antioxidant effect are like any lessened. In fact, what we found out is that it's actually more so. Hydrogen's goal is homeostasis. It regulates the redox status of the cell, the redox or redox, the reductants and the oxidants, the antioxidant and free radicals within the cell as a whole. It's regulating that whole system, the whole antioxidant system. It's not just doing this neutralizing one or two bad guys as it goes in. Because it does this, it maintains healthy antioxidant and free radicals within cells, and it will not act if homeostasis is already achieved, which is phenomenal. So they've actually seen this, that molecular hydrogen will, if let's say we had two cells, one was undergoing oxidative stress, one was running optimally, they can give molecular hydrogen to this cell and it will, regulate the antioxidants. So it might increase, the expression of the NRF2 pathway, and then it might do some things with the mitochondria and some other stuff, right? So it's going to regulate the antioxidant status of this cell and improve it. It's going to increase those antioxidants to inhibit or suppress the oxidative stress in it. But this one, if it's running optimally, that means that they put hydrogen gas to this cell and they don't see hardly any effects on its antioxidant. It doesn't act, which means it's selective. It can differentiate between cellular scenarios to regulate the cell, which is phenomenal. And scientists are still trying to figure out how hydrogen is able to do this. It actually works the same way with like cancer cells. They show that hydrogen increases the longevity of normal cells, but it can induce cancer cell death in cancer cells within the same body. So it's pretty amazing. Okay, so this study is the beneficial biological effects and underlying mechanisms of molecular hydrogen, comprehensive review of 321 original articles. It says specific extinction of hydroxyl radical and peroxynitrate were initially presented, but the radical scavenging effects of hydrogen cannot be held solely accountable for its drastic effects. We and others have shown that the effects can be mediated by modulating activity and expressions of various molecules such as, and then they list a whole bunch of different molecules. I mean, there's a lot on there. I mean, there's P38, there's NFAT, STAT3, CFOS, there's ghrelin, the hunger hormone. You have NF-kappa B, which is like a key mediator transcription factor for inflammation. I mean, hydrogen is regulating a lot of different molecules. Okay, so here is one of our original OG videos as well. We talk about, is hydrogen the best antioxidant in the world? I think it is. I don't think there's anything like molecular hydrogen when it comes to its antioxidant-like effects or its effects for us in general. I haven't seen anything as special as molecular hydrogen. It's not one of those type of therapies that's like just an add-on. It's like a foundational therapy, and like I hope you see that after this presentation. But in this video, we kind of go through some of the concepts of hydrogen being a selective antioxidant, and we're going to do an update on this video because we've actually learned more. We actually learned more how hydrogen is able to do this, but it's a good video to give you a foundation. Hydrogen has anti-inflammation effects, or anti-inflammatory effects, and it can do this in many different ways, but I'm only going to list 4 of them. The first one is the reduction of oxidative stress. If you don't know what oxidative stress is, a simple way of thinking about it is you have antioxidant free radicals in your cells. Oxidative stress is when the free radicals get too high and there's not enough antioxidants to fight against those free radicals, and so the cell is under oxidative stress, or arrest is under stress, oxidative stress. And so this is basically what oxidative stress is. Oxidative stress is a big deal because it's virtually tied to nearly all or virtually every disease. And so if you can effectively deal with oxidative stress, you can deal with a lot of different things, a lot of different disorders. So first things first, hydrogen can reduce oxidative stress, and oxidative stress is a key mediator to inflammation. And so reducing that's going to reduce inflammation. Then it can downregulate pro-inflammatory cytokines. Cytokines are communicating proteins that are expressed by our immune cells and things like that. Hydrogen can downregulate these communicating proteins that can cause inflammation, such as interleukin-6, interleukin-1 alpha, tumor necrosis factor alpha. It can upregulate anti-inflammatory cytokines. These are communicating proteins that our cells produce that can reduce inflammation or suppress an inflammatory response, such as interleukin-10 or interleukin-22. And then hydrogen has the potential to prevent or prohibit elevated levels of excessive inflammation in the first place, and it can do this by just regulating the immune system or particular immune cells in general, such as mast cells or macrophages, or different other molecules like chemokines. So hydrogen is like, its anti-inflammatory effects are pretty remarkable as well, and it's definitely why you should be on hydrogen therapy. So we actually talk about this effect in this video. We go through some of this information and more. You should definitely check it out if you want to know how hydrogen can potentially benefit you with its anti-inflammatory effects. It has anti-allergy effects or anti-allergic effects, and it can do this by preventing, protecting, or reducing the effects of allergic reactions. Not only just one type, but in 2 types. Between type 1 and type 2. Type 1 allergic reactions are like hay fever, seasonal allergies, food allergies. Then type 2 allergic reactions are like antibody driven. So basically, it would be like lupus or rheumatoid arthritis. And so hydrogen can effectively inhibit, suppress allergic reactions of both types. And we discussed this in this video, and also we talk about it on our website, HU Hub. You can go to our website and look at our benefits page, and I go in more depth, showing more articles, on our website. But in this video, we give you a snapshot of how hydrogen can help with seasonal allergies or allergy in general, or have anti-allergic effects. Next will be anti-cellular death. Hydrogen helps our cells live longer, which helps us live longer. It can do this by reducing oxidative stress. It can inhibit the activation of apoptotic enzymes and signaling pathways. So apoptotic means cell death, and so proteins that cause cell death, or pathways in the cell or process in the cell that lead to cell death, such as caspase 1 and 3, BAX, etc. It can upregulate anti-apoptotic proteins, or proteins that help the cell to live, such as BCL2 or BCL extra large. And it can also do this by protecting the mitochondria of the cell. Mitochondria is a key mediator to cell death. And so an easy way to make sense of this would be the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. You could think of it like a car. No, the car will be dead if you take the engine out of the car, right? Well, cells can't live if you take the powerhouse out of the cell. It's a key mediator to cell death. Next would be anti-aging effects. And so hydrogen's been shown to do this in many different ways as well. We'll just cover a few of these. It can do this by reducing or preventing oxidative stress. It can inhibit mitochondrial DNA damage, suppress mitochondrial oxidative stress, inhibit cellular senescence. If you don't know what cellular senescence is, it's basically the cell losing its ability to continue to replicate. That's just the easy way. It's more than that, but that's an easy way of discussing it. And then all these different things I just mentioned have been hypothesized to be linked to aging of the human body and cells. And so hydrogen is doing this in a number of different ways. Some of the mechanisms behind how hydrogen has been able to have anti-aging effects is that it influences or regulates or activates the NRF2 pathway. It can maintain good NAD plus levels within the cell. It can regulate sirtuins such as SIRT1 through SIRT7. These have good, the research has been shown that if you want cells to live longer, you need these sirtuin levels to be really well. And then it has telomerase or telomeres. Telomeres like the end caps of DNA. And it's been shown that hydrogen can increase these end caps of DNA. So if the telomeres on the end caps of our DNA are long, it indicates the cell is young, healthy, and will live longer. If the end caps of our DNA, these telomeres, are shorter, it means the cell is old and will die sooner. It's unhealthy. And so what they've actually seen, and also telomerase is the protein that can help these telomeres stay long. So hydrogen's actually been shown to increase telomerase activity in the cell by over 100%, which is crazy. And it can keep these telomeres long. Well, what they've seen is that hydrogen does this in healthy cells, but in cancer cells, it can actually decrease or suppress or shorten the length of telomeres in the cancer cells, inducing cancer cell death. It's really, really fascinating how hydrogen's able to differentiate. So here's our video on anti-aging. We actually go through some of the scientific literature. It's pretty sciencey. You gotta have your science hat on for this one, but I think you guys would enjoy it, and I think it definitely gives you a glimpse of showing hydrogen's potential through the scientific literature to have anti-aging effects. This article, a new approach for the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disorders. Molecular hydrogen significantly reduces the effects of oxidative stress. The quote says, molecular hydrogen regulates signaling pathways and gene expression via modulating the expression/activity of various biomolecules, as well as several marker RNAs, which may account for the therapeutic effects of anti-reperfusion injury, anti-radiation injury, anti-inflammation, anti-apoptosis, anti-metabolic disorders, anti-allergies, anti-dementia, as well as anti-aging. It's a lot of antis. Hydrogen has a lot of anti-effects. Okay, a paradigm shift. So if you're watching this video and you're interested in hydrogen therapy, you need to understand that you are going to have to undergo a paradigm shift. You might already be there, but some might not. And I state this because hydrogen therapy differs from conventional medicine. Even if you don't jive with conventional medicine, we've all been affected by it to a certain degree. And so I'll get into that a little bit. And so let's go ahead and discuss it. So conventional medicine has its pros and cons, and it has quite a few cons. But anyway, more or less, conventional medicine is acute medicine or acute therapy. It's typically a results now approach. And so when you take like your aspirin or your Tylenol, some pharmaceutical drug, it's going to be a relatively short time frame for the onset of that medicine or for that medicine to induce its effects upon you. It's basically anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes. But it's likely to have adverse side effects or many side effects. And conventional medicine is pharmaceutical focus, it's symptom management, it's chronic disease management, it's efficient at emergency response. So I said this in my live presentation that I had here recently, that if you get a heart attack, you need to call 911. It's good at that. It's good at getting you back to some kind of state where you can work from, basically. You need to call the ambulance if you're having a heart attack or some major. But with that being said, it has a low focus on lifestyle factors. So these particular lifestyle factors or risk factors that lead to diseases like eating high fructose corn syrup or fructose corn syrup or having an unhealthy diet, those type of things, right? Those can be lifestyle factors that need to be altered that's going to lead to disease. Conventional medicine typically doesn't address those things. But hydrogen therapy can be classified as progressive or accumulative therapy, or lifestyle intervention therapy. That's more of what hydrogen therapy is what the research has seen. Typically, the results of hydrogen therapy come between 1 to 12 weeks. This is similar to like exercise. Right now, there is no known adverse effects or side effects within the scientific literature that we've been able to see. H2 studies, the research studies, range from 1 week to over a year in its length. And molecular hydrogen as a therapeutic agent, as this gaseous signal modulator that can regulate the cell, this redox adaptogen, it addresses the root causes or the primary drivers of diseases such as oxidative stress or inflammation or mitochondrial dysfunction or dysregulation in autophagy or regulating the immune system or dysregulated immune systems. Hydrogen gets at these drivers. These are the things that leads to diseases. Molecular hydrogen therapy is mild and gradual and is time dependent. However, drastic results can happen in time when you do it. So it's a drastic result later approach. And so here's like a simple equation to think of. Hydrogen plus time equals results. This is what we see in the literature. Hydrogen plus time equals results. It's similar to exercise. Exercise plus time equals results. However, something you need to consider that many people don't. Many people don't take hydrogen therapy as seriously as they would take conventional medicine, unfortunately. And you should not expect to have the results doing that. You must approach hydrogen therapy with the same seriousness you would conventional medicine. If you are having some blood disorder or something like that, where you have some clotting issues or whatever, and they put you on some kind of drug to keep your blood thin or whatever, and they say you need to take X amount every 8 hours to make sure your blood stays thin and not clot, you're gonna be pretty serious about doing that, right? You don't want to have any serious health issues or death or anything like that. So there's going to be a particular dose and exposure time to that dose, and then you're going to have to do another dose, right? Like, you're going to take it seriously. The same thing with hydrogen therapy. This is what we see in the studies. If those people that do that end up having statistical and significant improvement. and various human disease models, over 170 of them. So let's go ahead and look at a few of these and see how this works. Okay, so hydrogen therapy results in 2 weeks. This is with a cycling study with healthy patients, where it's an exercise study with cycling. The participants drank 500 milliliters, 16.9 ounces of H2 water per day for 2 weeks, except for on weekends. So they actually drank 5 days a week. This would have been 10 doses of hydrogen, ingesting 3 milligrams of H2 per day. So they would have had a high concentration. So if it would have been 3 milligrams in 500 milliliters, so that would have been 6 ppm or 6 milligrams per liter. So 6 times 0.5 equals 3 milligrams of hydrogen dissolved into this bottle of water. And in the study, they performed a exercise test before consuming hydrogen-rich water, so at the beginning of the 2 weeks. Then they had the hydrogen intervention for 2 weeks, or 10 bottles. And then after that, they performed another exercise test on healthy humans. And this is what they found: improved VO2 max, or aerobic capacity, improved cardiorespiratory system, indicating that H2 may positively impact the cardiorespiratory fitness and overall health. A 4-week study. Okay, so we have a 4-week study, and this is a genetic analysis on genes hydrogen water regulates in the liver in 4 weeks. And H2 water was consumed daily in this study. And the results were that molecular hydrogen regulated more than 1,200 genes in the liver. 548 were upregulated, 695 were downregulated. H2 reduced oxidative stress and increased the antioxidant status of the liver. And H2 regulated genes associated with overall liver health, cholesterol regulation, antioxidant defense, cellular energy production, detoxification, like detoxifying our livers, optimal liver metabolism, and cardiovascular health, or different proteins or different enzymes and proteins that produced by the liver that can ultimately benefit the cardiovascular system. This indicated that H2 improved liver function and may prevent liver diseases. Here's a 3-month study. This study is titled "Consumption of water containing a high concentration of molecular hydrogen reduces oxidative stress and disease activity in patients with rheumatoid arthritis, an open-label pilot study." So, as I stated, this is a rheumatoid arthritis study. They consumed 530 milliliters, or 18 ounces of H2 water per day, ingesting 2 to 2.5 milligrams of H2 per day. So it would have been a high concentration again. This would have been somewhere about 4 to 5 milligrams per liter, ppm, in this 4 to 5 milligrams per liter, or ppm, would have been the concentration for this water. And the results were that these patients had reductions in oxidative stress and inflammation. They actually saw this by the reduction of C-reactive proteins. And then they significantly reduced rheumatoid arthritis activity. It significantly reduced rheumatoid arthritis disease activity. And it demonstrated hydrogen has long-term effects as the rheumatoid arthritis disease status continued to improve when hydrogen was gone. And so with the 1-month washout period. So basically this is how this worked. They drank hydrogen-rich water every day for 1 month. And then they consumed regular water for 1 month. And then they consumed hydrogen water again for another month. And then they did their evaluation and analysis. And what they found is that in the month they weren't drinking hydrogen water, the disease activity or the inflammation in their body did not go up. It actually stayed the same or slightly improved, which was phenomenal because they're not drinking hydrogen water. So what's going on? The hydrogen's not in them. So how is it still benefiting? And it showed that the first month, hydrogen was regulating their system and had residual effects into the second month. So this is another way we know hydrogen its main function is through regulating a host of different transcription factors and altering gene expression and regulating systems. And so anyway, this is one of the ways we found out that molecular hydrogen has long-term effects, or longer effects. It improved prognosis, and early diagnosed rheumatoid arthritis patients went into remission. All right, here's a 6-month study where they drank 500 milliliters of water. So I want you guys to see that with every single example, basically almost every single example, it's about 500 milliliters of water. So it's not a lot of water. 16 ounces of water per day with a good hydrogen concentration gave these types of results. So it's just about being consistent and actually taking this therapy seriously that leads to these type of results that they're seeing in the scientific literature. And if you're able to do that at home, verify the product, know that it's giving you these type of levels, then and know when you should expect results, then I think that you can approach hydrogen therapy with enthusiasm and excitement, and and expect to say, okay, there's going to be some kind of benefit I can expect to receive, even if I don't necessarily initially feel it. Because hydrogen, like I said, hydrogen plus time equals results. So the results of this study is that, like I said, they drank 500 milliliters of water per day, ingesting 3 to 5 milligrams of H2 per day. So it was a high concentration of hydrogen gas dissolved into the water. The results were improvements in markers such as longer DNA telomeres. Like I just said, hydrogen increases the telomeres of the cell, improved brain metabolism and DNA methylation, cognitive function, pain scores, senior fitness tests, senior fitness tests or exercises, sleep parameters, brain neurotransmitters, and more. This human clinical trial concluded that hydrogen is safe, effective, and a promising anti-aging agent. Okay, so why choose hydrogen? So we actually have this in a video format, and this is like the number one video you should share if you want someone to understand why they should invest or engage in hydrogen therapy and what it's all about. This is the video I would tell you to share from us. We give a pretty persuasive case in the video. I'm going to go through some of that here and talk a little bit more about why you should choose hydrogen. Above what I've already told you, right? It's already pretty amazing. Okay, so first thing is the benefits. So this article, The Evolution of Molecular Hydrogen, a noteworthy potential therapy with clinical significance. Hydrogen has marked therapeutic potential to help with the top 8 fatality-causing diseases listed by the CDC. Well, we actually did a video series called Hydrogen versus the Top 10 Causes of Death listed by the CDC. And we actually show that hydrogen doesn't have therapeutic potential just for 8, but for all 10 in this video series. So these are the top 10 causes of death listed by the CDC. And you can see the list: heart disease, cancer, COPD, accidents, strokes, Alzheimer's, diabetes, influenza, pneumonia, kidney disease, and suicide. Okay, so heart disease kills more than 600,000 people per year in the United States, and heart disease is responsible for 1 in every 4 deaths, which is, like I said, that's a lot. And in this video, we go ahead and show that hydrogen has therapeutic potential to benefit heart disease by improving overall heart function, improving the function of heart ventricles, protecting from ischemia, reperfusion injury, or heart attacks, reducing cardiac hypertrophy or fibrosis, improving arteriosclerosis, or basically like plaque in our arteries, decreasing blood pressure, normalizing cholesterol levels, reducing blood sugar, protecting blood vessels, and maintaining their function, so our vascular system, and enhancing their recovery or improving their recovery of cardiac arrest. So this is where hydrogen has therapeutic potential for. It also, with cancer, cancer claims 500,000 people per year or more in the United States, and over 21 million people are currently diagnosed with cancer in the United States. And we show in this video that hydrogen has therapeutic potential for cancer by reducing oxidative stress, protecting DNA, suppressing somatic mutations, suppresses cancer cell growth, induces cancer cell death, suppresses the spread of cancer, aids in the effectiveness and protection of anti-cancer drugs. So this is one of the things I've actually seen in the studies where they've given hydrogen at the same time as a chemotherapy drug and saw that it enhanced the effects of the chemotherapy drug but protected the cells, or like, for instance, protected like the liver from damage from a chemotherapy drug. So it's it's pretty cool what they're finding. It protects from radiation, such as like radiation you would receive in cancer therapies, or even like sun rays or different UV rays from like the sun. It can protect the skin from those type of radiations. It can improve the quality of life and increase survival rate. Next would be COPD with 155,000 plus people per year. Over 15 million people are currently diagnosed with COPD in the United States. And in this video, we address this in two different scales. One would be the smaller scales, dealing with kind of like the I wouldn't say biochemistry, I guess, with the microbiology, I should say, the microbiology. And then the other would be like larger scales, like injuries or different things that can lead to the dysregulated processes in the microbiology, right? And so we basically show that molecular hydrogen can deal with both sides. So with COPD, molecular hydrogen has therapeutic potential to reduce oxidative stress, reduce inflammation, apoptosis, cellular senescence, autophagy, and regulate homeostasis. And then it can also help with smoking, inhalation injury, environmental injuries, lung injuries, enhance lung function, and aid with related disorders. Next would be accidents, which claims the lives of 146,000 people or more per year, and over 30 million emergency room visits each. There are over 30 million emergency room visits each year for unintentional injuries. And so in this video, we go through and show how molecular hydrogen has therapeutic potential for enhancing wounds or dealing with burns, internal injuries, brain injuries, spinal injuries, hemorrhages, sepsis, poison, overdose, and pain. Next would be strokes that kills 140,000 people per year. Every 40 seconds, someone in the United States has a stroke. So that means by the time we got to this portion in this presentation, there's been more than 100 people that have already had a stroke here in the United States. So thinking of the people that maybe could be helped with hydrogen who had a stroke. So maybe if you're making tally marks, this would be a good time to do so when I'm talking about all these different disease models. But yeah, so hydrogen has therapeutic potential for strokes by prevention or aiding in the risk factors, such as like reducing high blood pressure and things like that. Help with blood clots, neuroprotection, TIAs, ischemic, transit ischemic attacks. And then you have ischemic strokes, hemorrhagic strokes, secondary strokes, quality of life, and survival rate. In fact, there is a recent clinical study that demonstrated hydrogen inhalation for stroke recovery outperformed an approved pharmaceutical drug in its therapeutic effects for the stroke recovery for these patients. So, yeah, it's pretty impressive stuff they're seeing in the scientific literature. Next would be Alzheimer's, which claims the lives of 100,000 plus people per year. It's projected that 14 million people will have Alzheimer's by year 2050. And we show that hydrogen has therapeutic potential by reducing oxidative stress, having neural benefits by improving mitochondrial dysfunction, by regulating ghrelin, and benefiting general dementia. Next would be diabetes, which kills over 80,000 people per year in the United States, and 86 million adults are pre-diabetic, and 90% of them don't even know it. That's literally almost like a third of our population, which is mind-blowing, not in a good way. But anyway, we can all benefit from hydrogen probably, most likely. And so molecular hydrogen has the therapeutic potential to help with type 1, type 2, pre-diabetic metabolic syndrome, which is kind of like a group of different metabolic disorders or issues that can lead to things like diabetes, such as hyperglycemia or insulin resistance or things like that. Then you got obesity, hyperglycemia, and then other complications. Influenza and pneumonia, which claims the lives of 57,000 plus people per year. Pneumonia is the most common cause of serious illness and death in young children worldwide. And we show in this video that molecular hydrogen can reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, can regulate the immune system, has indirect regulation, so meaning it regulated one system over here or one system over here, and then because of regulating the system over here, it had additional benefits or aided this system, which would benefit the disorder. And then it was able to reduce lung edema and suppress the replication of viruses, as well as enhance or benefit the immune system to effectively eliminate viruses. Kidney disease kills 47,000 people per year, and 1 in 10 people will have a kidney stone at some point in their lives. And this is directly tied to, a big part of this is directly tied to, we just don't drink enough water. We're all chronically dehydrated. We don't drink enough water every day. And this leads to kidney stones, and this leads to our kidneys suffering. And so definitely drink more water. Drink the water that has hydrogen gas in it, because it's even going to benefit your kidneys even more, right? So let's see. It has therapeutic potential for chronic kidney disease, enhances kidney function, reduces kidney injuries, reduces kidney stones, helps with kidney dialysis and kidney transplant. And lastly would be mental health or suicide, which claims the lives of 44,000 or more people per year, and 90% of people who die by suicide have a diagnosable mental disorder. So mental health is important, and we definitely don't need to stigmatize it or anything like that, but it's really important. And molecular hydrogen has been shown to benefit our brains and to benefit our mental health. And so we've actually shown in this video that hydrogen can do this by reducing oxidative stress and neuroinflammation. It has anti-depression effects, anti-anxiety effects, and we even have literature for bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and just daily stress. So this article says current progress in molecular hydrogen medication, protective and therapeutic uses of hydrogen gas against different disease scenarios. The quote says the curative ability of H2 has currently been reported in more than 170 various human and animal disease models. Man, I mean, I didn't even know at one point in my life, I didn't even know there was even a such thing as, 170 different diseases. And this is not even like a recent count. We don't have a recent count yet. I mean, it could be over 200 diseases. We just don't know yet. All right, so another reason why you should choose hydrogen is prevention. So I just talked about a lot of people who would be in the unhealthy category, right? Those who are dealing with different diseases or disorders, but there's many of us that are healthy. So is hydrogen gonna be good for us? And it's crazy because in the scientific literature, what's talked about more so than hydrogen being able to be a potential treatment for many diseases is that hydrogen is a incredibly promising preventative agent, like to prevent diseases. They talk more about prevention in the literature than they do about treating diseases. And so in this video, we actually go and show some of this information, some of this data. And here's the 4 points we discussed. Prevention is better than treatment. It's better to prevent cancer than try to treat cancer. H2 may benefit the healthy, not just the sick. H2 is a novel preventative agent, and H2 may prevent many diseases, including pre-symptomatic diseases, via reducing oxidative stress and inflammation systemically. And a pre-symptomatic disease is a disease that's developing in your body, and you don't even know it. You can't feel it developing. So a good disease, or not a good disease, but a disease that would be doing this or would fit into this category would be like diabetes. You could be developing diabetes for 10 years, and you might not necessarily feel the effects of diabetes until you're in a diabetic state in your body. And so let's go ahead and look at this study, which says molecular hydrogen as a novel protective agent against pre-symptomatic diseases. This has a phenomenal quote in it, and so I'm going to read it for you. I might give you a couple different, I might add some comments to this quote, but I think you'll see why we have it in the presentation, why it's so impressive. It says, it is important to remember that if both chronic kidney disease and hepatitis were to be developing within a patient, it is impossible for H2 to prevent inflammation in the kidneys without doing the same in the liver. That is, the key property that distinguishes H2 from modern therapeutic measures is the indiscriminate nature and ability of the molecule to act as a protective agent against pre-symptomatic diseases in various areas of the body without the intention of it doing so. So a way to think about this is that if you were giving hydrogen to try to treat the kidneys, then it will equally be aiding to prevent the development of Alzheimer's in the brain, right? Like hydrogen is going to target all these different drivers at the same time. So it's not like modern medicine. When you're going to give a medicine, is going to help one part of the body, and then, or it's going to just reduce COX-2 or something, some kind of molecule or whatever, and its effects, and then there you go. Or is going to do one particular act and then not benefit anything else. Now, hydrogen is going to be benefiting all these systems at the same time, and this is what it's talking about. This means that even if symptoms of pre-symptomatic diseases are not apparent, the simple act of inhaling H2 could prevent all. I'm going to say that again. Could prevent all pre-symptomatic diseases before common treatment methods need to be applied. So remember, this is not me saying this. This is the researchers saying this about molecular hydrogen's effects. So it is amazing and impressive. We need to really consider investing in hydrogen therapy. This is what is being talked about in this literature, and I'm trying to bring it to you so you guys can actually see it. You actually can take notice of it. Limitations exist today with modern medicines or conventional medicine and treatment methods against pre-symptomatic diseases. Even exercise, which is essential in the maintenance of human health, cannot suppress the chronic inflammation at the root of such diseases. As such, H2 paves the way as a novel preventative agent that can be used universally to avoid development of chronic inflammation and more broadly pre-symptomatic diseases. It's an amazing quote. All right, hydrogen on the brain. Hydrogen on the brain. Let me actually give me a little water, a little hydrogen water, y'all. Excuse me. Need to get some H2 in me real quick. Okay, hydrogen on the brain. So we did this brain series, and we're probably going to continue the series talking about hydrogen, how it can benefit different organs in our bodies. We'll probably do like the main 7 organs or whatever, the big ones. And then, but when I was doing this, man, I had so much dang information that I thought we were going to make one video, but it was going to be as long as this video or longer. So we ended up breaking it up into 4 videos. So this is our series for hydrogen on the brain. So the first video is for general brain health. We talk about how hydrogen can, benefit, protect, enhance the blood-brain barrier, can reduce oxidative stress, address neuroinflammation, and has neuroprotection or neuroprotective effects. The next video was brain damage and injuries, and we discussed traumatic brain injuries, sepsis, concussions, non-traumatic brain injuries, stroke, drug-induced brain injuries, such as like from pharmaceutical drugs or from a pharmaceutical drug or methamphetamine or something along those lines, and then hypoxic brain injuries, such as like losing oxygen, oxygen-rich blood supply to the brain. Number 3 is probably the most popular of the brain series. Is on brain disorders. This will be another part to make tally marks, people. So this one, we cover hydrogen's therapeutic potential for ALS, or we show at least some studies, right? For ALS, Alzheimer's, aneurysms, autism, cerebral palsy, epilepsy, headaches, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, and tumors. And then lastly, we've been a cognitive function. And you can see here, man, went hard in the paint on cognitive function. We have a lot of good research, and I wanted to show definitively that hydrogen has therapeutic potential for our cognitive function. So we covered the gamut. Covered the gamut basically. So we show how hydrogen can benefit the hippocampus, the cerebellum, the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, reduce oxidative stress and neuroinflammation, can regulate microglia, which is like an immune cell, synaptic loss, synaptic plasticity, astrogliosis or reduce astrogliosis, can affect or regulate neurotransmitters such as glutamate, dopamine, acetylcholine, serotonin, histamine, GABA. We don't have that one on the list, but it does. And then cognitive impairment. It can help with cognitive impairment. It helps with behavior, learning or enhance learning, improve memory, aid with or enhance brain function, and improve mental alertness. There's actually a study where they put hydrogen gas head to head against caffeine, and it showed that hydrogen improved mental alertness, or outperformed caffeine for mental alertness and sleep deprivation in humans, which was cool. So this article is hydrogen-rich water for improvement of mood, anxiety, and autonomic nerve function in daily life. Even in healthy individuals, aging, job stress, and cognitive load over several hours also induce increased oxidative stress. The results of this study suggest that hydrogen may be effective for reducing accumulative oxidative stress in the brain in daily life. All right, so another reason why you should choose hydrogen is benefits to athletes. Man, if you're an athlete, then you should be on hydrogen therapy. Point blank, period. It's the number one innovation for innovative therapy for athletic performance or like recovery. And I can say that from experience. I've had it. It's awesome. I do think that molecular hydrogen is a great asset if you're going to be training. And we discussed that in this video in 4 different points: performance, endurance, protection, and recovery. Here's a couple different things that we actually go over. How molecular hydrogen can reduce muscle fatigue, enhance nitric oxide function in the body, which is really good. Obviously, it can give more blood flow to the muscles and things like that. It improves cognitive function while even under stress. It can reduce lactate levels or lactic acid. It supports mitochondrial energy production. Can help with mental alertness, and it does not interfere with reactive signaling molecules useful for exercise adaptation. So this is really, really important. This is what this was going about earlier with the Nature Medicine article, that it was able to neutralize the bad guys that's going to hurt us, but the beneficial free radicals that we need is going to allow them to perform their functions. And this is something that's really important because they've actually seen it. If you take a high dose of vitamin C before a bout of exercise, that it can negate the benefits of the exercise. And this is likely because it's reducing too many free radicals. These free radicals that are needed. But hydrogen is not like that. Hydrogen doesn't neutralize these guys. And so it's selective. It only deals with the very, very bad damaging ones. And the other ones that are needed for exercise adaptation, it allows them to perform their actions. So in endurance, number 2 is endurance. It can prevent metabolic acidosis associated with exercising, promoting increased muscular endurance. It can improve VO2 max. It can help maintain peak power output throughout exercise. It can improve blood flow or microcirculation. It has cardioprotective and improves cardiovascular functions. It can improve post-exercise heart rate, and it can actually stimulate energy metabolism by upregulating a liver hormone called FGF21, and it is that hormone is beneficial for preventing weight gain and improving weight loss. Number 3 is protection. It helps to reduce excessive oxidative and free radical damage from exercise. It may prevent micro injuries. It may prevent overtraining injuries. It has no side effects or cytotoxicity, and protects DNA, RNA, and helps to maintain homeostasis. And lastly, recovery. Molecular hydrogen supports rapid recovery from post-exercise training. It helps recover from soft tissue injuries and can upregulate our own body's antioxidants, which can also further improve recovery. And then it can improve the recovery from DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. So you know how you get sore after a couple days. I mean, you work out and then your muscles feel all like jello, and then the next day or two you're super sore. Well, hydrogen can help improve or suppress that DOMS, so it might not be so bad. This article is Molecular Hydrogen in Sports Medicine, New Therapeutic Perspectives. In particular, hydrogen therapy may be effective and specific innovative treatment for exercise-induced oxidative stress and sports injury with the potential for improvement in exercise performance. All right. Immune system. So we actually could have discussed this in many different ways, discussing the immune system. But we actually talked about it in one particular way. We'll probably make another immune system video where we talk about how hydrogen is regulating the immune system. There's a lot of articles about that, but in this one we talk about one particular way, which is basically immunometabolism. So the logic of the video follows: to have a healthy immune system, you need to have healthy immune cells. And to have healthy immune cells, you need to have healthy mitochondria in those cells. And hydrogen supports the mitochondria and can benefit the immune system in one particular way called immunometabolism. So, immunometabolism is the relation between immune cells' cellular metabolism and how it affects the immune system, or how these cells participate in an inflammatory response. And so the way they're producing energy can affect them and how they participate in this inflammatory response. And so immunometabolism is where the immune system and energy production intersect. So molecular hydrogen is absolutely wonderful for the mitochondria. In fact, it's almost one of the it's being looked at as a primary target for how hydrogen might be even mediating or doing all these effects or inducing all these effects. But anyway, we cover many different benefits. These are the benefits that you'll see in this video. I'll just name a few of them. One that's a couple that's really important, such as hydrogen improving or increasing mitochondrial biogenesis, which is telling the cell to produce more mitochondria. It does this by regulating the pathway PGC1 alpha, and it can tell the cell to produce more mitochondria, which is amazing. It can also improve mitochondrial dysfunction, which is tied to a lot of different diseases. It can restore mitochondrial construction and function. So it can help the cell restore the construction of these mitochondria to build more mitochondria and improve its function. And then it can improve mitochondrial efficiency. And it also may reverse metabolic energy production during an inflammatory response. So basically, it can kind of reprogram the way the cell is producing energy during an inflammatory response. And this is an article actually discussing that. So hydrogen attenuates allergic inflammation by reducing energy metabolic pathway switch. That's the title of this article. And it says, our data demonstrates a novel mechanism that H2 exerts its anti-inflammatory action by regulating energy metabolic reprogramming. Incredible. So number one, why you should choose hydrogen is the benefits. This is our benefits video. If you want just a snapshot of all of our benefit videos into one video, we actually discuss 60 health benefits in this video. So this is one of those overview snapshot videos. You want to get a lot of health benefits of hydrogen gas. This is the video that you watch. Number two, why you should choose hydrogen is that it's easy. So molecular hydrogen is one thing with multiple benefits for multiple health problems. It's not like you're taking, like you got like 100 issues and you got to take 100 things. It's just one thing. So who can benefit from hydrogen? Everybody. Children, elderly, athletes, chronically ill, generally healthy, pregnant women, animals, plants, and more. We're actually going to probably end up producing hydrogen for pets as a video, and hydrogen for agriculture. Like hydrogen is amazing for plants and produce. It's shown to increase the shelf life of like bananas and different things. So as I was saying, it's easy. It's easy, and it's also easy to administer. The primary ways of intaking hydrogen is through drinking hydrogen-rich water, or breathing hydrogen gas. And those are two things you're going to be doing today. You're going to be breathing, or you're going to be drinking some water in some form or fashion, or you're going to die. So it's easy to incorporate because these are things we're already going to be doing every day. This quote says, oxidative stress and pathway of molecular hydrogen effects in medicine. The pleiotropic effects of molecular hydrogen on various protein molecules and signaling pathways can at least partly explain its almost universal pluripotent therapeutic potential. Basically, hydrogen's doing everything. Everything. It's pretty amazing. When you start looking at these quotes and what these researchers are saying. All right, number 3, molecular hydrogen is safe. All right, so out of the 2,000 plus scientific publication, H2 has shown no cytotoxic or cytotoxic byproducts in humans. So cytotoxic effects or cytotoxic byproducts in humans. No cell damaging effects. It's remarkable. In fact, we all have a basal level of hydrogen in our blood at all time, anywhere between 1 to 5 micromoles. So if you're watching this video, whether or not you've been on hydrogen therapy or not, you are producing hydrogen gas and you have it in your blood right now. So this is really good because hydrogen is not foreign to our bodies. And in fact, we actually produce this hydrogen gas via our gut flora. And whenever we eat these, non-digestible carbohydrates, we produce hydrogen gas. And of that production of hydrogen gas, 14% of it diffuses through our intestinal barrier into portal circulation or the venous system and forms a basal level of hydrogen gas in our blood. And so we're always being exposed to hydrogen gas, whether or not you're on hydrogen therapy or not, which is really, really important to know. The research shows that we can actually produce up to 12 liters of hydrogen gas per day with a diet containing fruits and vegetables and fiber-rich foods. And this is, like I said, due to the production of hydrogen gas by our gut flora. The secret benefit of fiber. This is one of our early videos too. We actually go over some scientific literature that shows you that our fruits and vegetables, basically are not just good for us because they contain vitamins and antioxidants and polyphenol antioxidants and all these good things, but they're also good for us because of the production of hydrogen gas we get from them. And so we go through this, and you should definitely check this video out. I talk about some different articles in here that show, like, researchers are saying, wait a minute, when you eat fiber, you make a lot of hydrogen gas, and it benefits things like the liver or the heart or all these kind of different things in our bodies. And it's so important to realize this is so important that there's research that suggests that one of the primary causes or a potential cause for Parkinson's disease or congestive heart failure is low hydrogen levels by their gut, leading to low levels of hydrogen in their bodies. So it's kind of crazy that you start to think that hydrogen is this foundational to our health, that researchers are saying that maybe one of the causes of Parkinson's disease is low H2 levels. Another reason we know hydrogen is safe is because H2 has been used to ameliorate decompression sickness in deep sea diving since 1945, and the H2 concentration has been as high as 98.87% H2, 1.26% O2, and 19.1 ATM with minimal or no adverse or cytotoxic effects. And our U.S. military has been using H2 in deep diving since the 60s. This article says clinical effects of hydrogen administration from animals and human diseases to exercise medicine. There are no safety issues with hydrogen. It has been used for years in gas mixtures for deep diving and in numerous clinical trials without adverse events, and there is no warning in the literature of its toxicity or long-term exposure effects. So molecular hydrogen is incredibly safe. What I've been talking about is its safety profile. You can actually look at this video and I'll actually break down all the information I just covered. And so you can share this with those who might be like, oh my goodness, is hydrogen safe? And you can always check the description of our videos and you will find the sources that we use to produce those videos. All right, bonus facts. We're at the end of the presentation. You guys made it. The ones who made it this far, you made it. Okay. We only probably got about 5 more minutes, if that, in this presentation. So here's some bonus facts about molecular hydrogen. As we said, it seems like molecular hydrogen therapy can do so many things. So let's go ahead and do it. Hydrogen may improve obesity by upregulating a fat hormone called adiponectin. Hydrogen may improve the environment and composition of your gut flora, therefore having additional benefits on your body. Hydrogen may improve tear secretion, helping to prevent or improve chronic dry eyes. All right, now add up and turn in your numbers. All right, so if you made it this far through the presentation, I really thank you for doing so. While I'm finishing up and this last few minutes, won't you guys go ahead and start listing your people, the tally marks in the comments, in the comments, and we can see the potential of how hydrogen can help so many people. And so let's blow this video up. Let's have so many people watch this video and list so many tally marks or numbers that we just end up having thousands upon thousands of comments showing how hydrogen can benefit people. So let's do that in this video. To finish up, we're going to talk about why H2 minutes, and it's going to be just a few minutes. First, H2 is good. We've already demonstrated this within this presentation. The H2 potential is amazing, and it's good. It's just really good. And because H2 is good, we need to be able to understand it to get the most from it, and that's what we're doing here with H2 minutes. We're trying to help you understand. I hope you see in this presentation you've learned a lot and got a lot from us. And what we're bringing to help you comprehend H2 therapy. So here's some of our benefits videos. We actually have that new one, a recent one for the reproductive system for those who are trying to have babies to keep all the special parts special. So we actually ended up producing a lot of different benefit videos and H2 minute videos to help you guys understand how wonderful hydrogen is. Next would be science is hard. I'm sure most of you didn't wake up today and start reading medical publications or research articles on hydrogen, but that's what I get to do. And so I do that for you guys to break those down, and then I put out videos. And so I try to make this entertaining as possible. And so I end up just being straightforward on those videos. I actually don't talk about it a whole lot, and it doesn't always get me, especially when I'm uncomfortable, but I have triggers because I have a speech impediment. And so that's why we do my H2 minute videos the way we do it, to kind of limit some of my stuttering and stuff. I actually did really good in this presentation, so you guys should be proud of me. You guys should be proud of me. But anyway, in these videos, I typically just hop on there and I just give you the info. And if I stutter, if I don't speak that great, then it is what it is. But I'm always happy to put out this info for you guys. Number 3, people are confused. And so we put out a whole bunch of misconception videos to kind of help people and clear up the confusion. And so we cover quite a bit with our misconception videos. We also do Q&A videos, so you can vote once a month. And we'll put out a question, or about 4 questions. You can vote on the question, and then I will answer that question in the month using scientific literature and give you a quality answer for your question. So here's some more Q&A questions. And then this says, there is so much to know about H2. Our videos are made to help you educate others in an easy way. So if you're an affiliate, or if you just want to share some with your family, or you're some kind of representative for a company, this is what our videos are here. It's for you to share. You don't have to know everything that I know, or some other researcher, or Tyler LeBaron, the founder of molecular hydrogen. You don't have to know everything, but you can leverage what I know by using these videos. So you say, hey man, I have a video for that. What are you talking about? Hydrogen has, I heard something about hydrogen being good beneficial. Oh, well, Taiwan has a video for that. H2 minutes, have you checked that out? Right? All right, so H2 minutes has been around for 7.5 years. We've uploaded 165 videos. We have more than 10,000 subscribers, and our channel, our views is over 700,000 views, and it's been viewed in 6 out of the 7 continents. And this has all been done with minimal help. So this is primarily has been my wife and me doing all this work, and we've had little support. So if we can rally and get more support around us, you guys want to share this and really support us and push this out there, and so we can get this message to the world, because what I just gave you guys in this presentation is only the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, there's more than 2,000 scientific publications, and there's more coming. And if I could give you every special quote I've ever seen, dude, it's hydrogen's potential is like endless. So let's go ahead and get this message out to the world. So you can support us with our mission. You can support us in our mission through the platform of Patreon. It's a crowdfunding platform to support your favorite YouTube creators. I hope after this presentation you'll see that I'm a cool dude, and I'm here to just help you. I'm really down to earth. I'm not here to be like, oh my goodness, I'm the most special thing. I'm really just a normal guy trying to help everybody with hydrogen. So you can support us at $5 a month or $25 a month. Or you can even support us at the higher levels, which is $100 or $500 or $1,000 a month. Typically, hydrogen companies have tried to support us or have supported us at those levels. But yeah, so you can always do that. You can support us at patreon.com/h2minutes. And you can use this QR code and you can scan that, and then you can go sign up. If you don't want to support us via monthly like that, then you can do so by scanning this QR code, and you can do a one-time donation. All right, so why do we do this? Why hydrogen? Why do I put in all this work? Why would I want to put out a 2-hour presentation on hydrogen on my YouTube channel? People matter. Helping people matter. There's a lot of people who suffer, and I believe molecular hydrogen has the potential to help them in significant ways, in ways we might not even really understand yet how significant it can probably help so many of us. So this is why we do it, and I hope that there's going to be a lot of tally marks in the comments, and we can blow this up to see how many people with hydrogen we can really help. So just based on this presentation, that's why we do it. That's why we go through all this stuff and educate and do all this stuff. We don't as I said, we don't get a lot of support, and so it's not going to stop us though. Whether or not we get the support is not going to stop us, because there's still more people that needs to know about hydrogen. So I hope that this presentation was a blessing to everyone, and yeah, that's it. I hope you guys appreciated it, and I'll catch you guys next time. We'll be putting out more videos. Please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell on this video, and for our YouTube channel, and we'll be here to give you some more content soon. Deuces.